Good morning, everyone. It is Saturday, the 16th of July, 2022, and not a whole lot of updates since yesterday, but again, more weird conversations regarding this flat, multidimensional holographic reality that we are experiencing through our avatars that are being, that our central nervous systems are controlling and the environment around us too. So we're perceiving everything based off of our senses that are controlled by the central nervous system, and yeah, all interesting things. And so the discussion was on the moon and the sun and their paths, and then discussions about the constellations in the sky, the 88, possibly 89. If you count like an apparent like unicorn constellation that comes like once every year or whatever, for a short period of time around the Christmas period. All interesting things. And so the discussion was like when we look up in the sky, obviously the sun is very bright. So like when you look at it, it's best to do it when it's like a little bit overcast, or if there's like a little bit of cloud coverage, or if it's like perceived as being further away. And so when I've discussed things with that I've done research and experiments that I've done on my own, or seen for myself based on really, really good videos that are out there still that people can take a look at, but it shows very similar light reflections with like using like looking circular as well, on various parts of any platform that I use to kind of reflect like these lights and rainbows and things like that I've discussed as well. So I highly recommend or encourage people, if they want to, buy some kind of a crystal pyramid, and with or without like something in the middle, and like look inside of it, look at it, and up and down, and see like where it reflects and why, and when, and like move it around and just see how interesting like the movements are of the patterns and shapes that are shown. And we only see a small portion anyways of light waves and waves, and so very limited. It's definitely less than 5%. I think it's like 1%, but don't quote me on that. But yeah, all interesting things. And so looking at them, it could possibly be where there's like some kind of like a self-illuminating object, whatever, that is reflecting onto this dome or firmament or sky above us, which is, it has like water particles and stuff like that too, right? So it could possibly be like acting as some kind of like a magnifying glass, but it is what it is, right? I don't know these things. Just like more compelling arguments that would lead me to believe that that's possibly the case. And also with the moon, right? And so throughout history too, there's been changes in calendars. There's been changes in like cycles of the moon and sun and planets. And so from 28 days cycles of the moon to 29.5 to 30 and whatever, and it depends on where you get your information as well, right? And so we used to have like different calendars throughout the world as well, and there's been very significant periods of time based on gematria and sacred numerology, I'm assuming, where things are released anyways, or experienced, events conducted, possibly with reason or without. And it could be some kind of divine intervention or us doing this. I have no idea. All just more compelling stuff that would lead me to believe again that there's that the moon too could possibly be some kind of self-illuminating object that's being reflected where we're seeing it. Just like when you look in the water, right? Like if you ever have gone spearfishing, you have to go above, right? And like the bigger the object, like the more you go above with the spear or whatever to catch the fish or whatever, just because of like the light bending certain angles. And so yeah, so that would make sense. And if you look at it as above as below and make those comparisons, then it makes even more sense. And so yeah, all interesting. And so there are times that that the moon looks like translucent or opaque, and it looks like there's things going behind it, or in front of it or whatever, and even if it was hitting it, it looks like water almost, or like some kind of like vibrationary, like I don't know, like it's just hard to explain. But there's more and more videos being released too, where there's a lot of footage from NASA and space stations and other areas where they're seeing water bubbles, they're seeing air bubbles that shouldn't be there, and there's like a lot of inconsistencies with the gravity, the zero gravity with so many different objects. But things improve and things get better, and the more people call things out, like the more they fix them, the more they rectify them. So, and yeah, and I do believe too that the moon landing was fake. We haven't done that yet. So why? And why are we talking about this still? And why are there people within all levels of government that are and education systems saying otherwise? When even cosmonauts and astronauts and so many other intellectuals have admitted this and called this stuff out, and pilots and so many other people too, and I keep on getting told there's people like, you know, Buzz Aldrin and Chris Hadfield, and anyways, they're actors. They are actors. I'm sorry to say it. They're very smart people. Well, I mean, very close-minded in the box, but just they're actors, and even again, people that take the pictures and show us the planets and show us the moon and the sun and the earth from like distances. These are all multiple like images that are overlaid and connected through CGI. It's manipulated. It's like it's not a one snapshot, and it's multiple, and so yeah, this like flat Earth plane possible comparison model just also makes a lot more sense to me as well. With us being heavily impacted by toroidal fields, electrical magnetic pulses or frequencies or waves, and but this is constant, right? This is something that we experience throughout. Like we have our own energetic fields, electrical magnetic fields, whatever you want to call it, and then the world does, like the Earth does too, right? So like even if this is some kind of like a flat plane, like multi-dimensional holographic reality simulation with some kind of like a dome above and possibly below, you know, it would make sense to contain it, and that's also possibly why like heavier, denser materials are lower and like the lighter ones above, like helium and things like that too, because this is some kind of a contained environment, and yeah, perception is reality. So I'm not trying to convince anyone of anything. These are all just things that I wanted to share with people from like the research I've been doing a lot more, and just wanted to share with people because if we're being lied to about this stuff, like stuff that if we did a lot more research and experiments and question, then we would understand that like there's a lot of other things too that we are possibly being lied about and being manipulated, and that maybe the experts aren't actually like as experty, new word I made up, as we think they are. And again, I keep on saying and again, and I'm so sorry for that, but Dr. Kieran Moore, he's a political scientist, right? And he's head of advisory boards. He's been funded by Pfizer. He does not have the qualifications. He has openly admitted and written memorandums, you know, discussing the ineffectiveness of these mandates and the masks and these therapeutics. And we're still using things that I can't even mention on here without these videos unfortunately being removed, because now in Canada we have more censorship bills that were just passed in the last couple of days, and why many people have already started leaving Canada, unfortunately, and I have not given up yet on my country, but I'm just hoping that there's something that shifts, you know what I mean? And like with these interest rates going up, and with you know, like just like printing money and like all these things that we're doing to like mentally abuse our society, and making us feel like disempowered and more like victims, instead of, you know, just acknowledging our own strengths and weaknesses and our own kind of like, you know, faults, I guess, or our own inefficiencies during this pandemic and response and stuff like that, and just move on from it, right? Like I've been wrong a lot in my life, and I've been right a lot in my life, and fortunately for me, I've been right a lot more, which is why, you know, I'm where I am, I guess, today, and like as healthy as I am, and trying to reach out to people who may or may not want to hear this type of new kind of information as well, right? Because if this is all stuff that's true, and the research that I'm looking at regarding ancient civilizations and ancient history, and how even languages have been manipulated with half-truths, but intentionally designed to keep us in fear, then we can look at possible like resets that are coming, that people are telling us that are happening. We can discuss and plan and prepare for things like that. and then looking forward to possible, cataclysmic events that have happened throughout history that seem to be following patterns, and see that if that is the case, and there's so many examples of this throughout history from multiple different sources, from multiple different areas, right, that had no ability to meet each other before these, things were created, then possibly again by like the in the next coming years, there's going to be a lot more catastrophic events, whether it be natural or man-made, and a lot more. I don't want to talk about this too much because I don't like manifesting things, but food shortages, and water shortages, and gas and oil shortages, and often going to be in more first world countries, and there's already concerns with sustainability within cities and stuff like that as well. And once we become more evolved and more spiritual and more connected again, and form alliances again in a peaceful way, the more we realize just how much we've been lied to by our own leadership, and or possibly, and how, like, if we anyway, I have my own theories on that stuff too, because even looking at again, ancient history and ancient cultures and civilizations, what has been said and written down, like sometimes doesn't correlate with like the images or the drawings that are discovered as well. And there's a lot of similarities too, in like even in the Americas, of hieroglyphs and structures and peoples there that maybe even preceded like the Native Americans. And I don't want to insult anyone by saying this, and or at least lived around the same time periods too, when we look at the dating of the bodies and the DNA assessments and research, and even brain matter being found in some of these tombs and burial sites and stuff like that too, and seeing the differences between groups, and all very interesting things. And there may or may not be a little bit more to even like Irish and Scottish lineage and history, and how it could be a lot older than we believe it to be, and possibly even more sacred than we're being led to believe, and how like there's a lot of star bases in so many different areas that may have possibly been started or stemmed from there, and just moved out, I guess, as a way of embracing things hidden in plain sight, I guess, like finding ways or monuments or structures or designs to show people, I guess, past civilizations or cultures, or hidden history or whatever. And also giants being found in mass graves and stuff like that too, and why that's significant is people are trying to play it off as this is like just humans. Sometimes there's giantism or hypo or high thyroidism, or so many other things, but that happens in like 0.0077% of the population, and so there's just too many, right? Where it's no other sizes of others, you know what I mean? And it's like they're all giants or all larger beings, for example, in like certain areas, mass graves. And so how can that be, right? Like when the chances of that happening with other races is human races is very, very low, right? And so all interesting things that I've been looking at, and I'm gonna try to enjoy the rest of the day and go for a workout and walk the dogs again. And I'm drinking filtered water. I know I say that in almost all my videos. Look at the sun, and try to do some grounding techniques too when you take your shoes off and plant your feet in soil. This really does help, I promise. And even weird things like not cutting hair. That's apparently like our way to like these can possibly be antennas where we like receive intuitive frequencies or waves or vibrations from the sun, as well, and better received if if we like are grounded and remove shoes and do that. So on that note, I hope that people that are watching to at least try that and have a wonderful rest of the day.